8:35. And I'd like us first to stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. And anyone that has served our country, I'd like you all to lead us with the pledge, please. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'd also like to indicate that proper notice has been given as required by the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. And we're going to start our meeting first with the approval of our board meeting minutes from September the 27th, 2021. Everyone should have received their minutes to review. Are there any changes, updates regarding the minutes that you have reviewed and received?
I know we got them via email. I'll move that we approve the board meeting minutes from the September 27th meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Next, we have a hearing today, a registered voter challenge. And Ms. Poland, I'm going to ask you to kind of move us in this direction and give regarding this challenge.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, can I interrupt just momentarily? I know on this voter challenge, I think this is the challenge of Ms. Lewis, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I just want the record to be clear that I practice law in the same law firm with her and know her and intend to recuse myself entirely on the challenge. So I will not be participating. I just want the record to be clear about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Mr. Eckert, our registration administrator, will give a summary of the challenge to the board.
Thank you very much. Mr. Eckert?
Good morning.
Good morning.
In your packet, you have a spreadsheet, Challenge Voters, September 1st, 2021, filed by Jeff Heineken. Additionally, copies of the challenges are in your packet. On September 3rd, letters were sent along with a copy of the challenge registration form and cancellation form to both Michael Lewis and Kim Lewis. On September 8th, subpoenas were issued. On September 8th, we received an online change of address for Kim Lewis. On September 10th, the hearing scheduled for 9/13 was canceled and held in abeyance. On September 14th, the registration for Michael Lewis was canceled. We received the cancellation form. So Mr. Lewis is no longer registered to vote in Hamilton County, and a copy of that cancellation is also in your packet. On September 4th, a change of address was processed for Kim Lewis. Kim Lewis is now registered to vote at 5538 East Galbraith Road, number 2145236, and a copy of the online change of address received is also in your packet. On October 4th, letters were sent to both Kim Lewis and Michael Lewis notifying them of today's hearing, and on October 4th, subpoenas were issued to Dinsmore and Scholl and Sarah Cash Crawford, and we received confirmation of service for those. On October 11th, we received a letter via email from Attorney Brian Sullivan with Dinsmore and Scholl regarding the subpoena issued to Dinsmore, so a copy of that letter is in your packet, along with an email with specifics about that subpoena, and a copy of that subpoena additionally is in your packet.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Stevenson, I have a question.
Sure.
Based on the information that we have just received with the changes of the address and the change of address of both Mrs. Lewis and Mr. Lewis.
It was a cancellation for Mr. Lewis.
Cancellations.
Yes.
But then letters have been sent out. One has canceled their vote, the other one has re-registered, right?
Has updated,
Online.
changed their address.
Changed their address.
Yes, correct.
Is there any reason why we need to continue with any deliberation regarding this particular situation?
Madam Chairman, the challenge was filed under 350324, which provides a right to challenge and or to correct a precinct registration list. Subsection B of that section says, on receiving an application or challenge filed under this section, The Board of Elections shall promptly review the board's record if the board is able to determine that an application or challenge should be granted or denied solely on the basis of the record maintained by the board. The board immediately shall vote to grant or deny that application or challenge. We have records.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Eckert.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Members?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Mr. Stevenson, could you be more specific about the records that we have?
We have a change of address for Kim Miller Lewis, and we have a cancellation from Michael. The challenge on Michael obviously is moot because he's canceled his registration in Hamilton County. The updated record reflects an address on Galbraith and not the address on which the claim challenge was filed at 5835 Sentinel Lane.
With respect to the challenge, it's the obligation of the challenger, in this case, right?
Correct.
And could you explain what we have in front of us is a challenge to an address on Sentinel Lane, correct?
That's correct.
Our records now show that was described by Mr. Eckert that the challenged voter, Ms. Lewis, lives on Galbraith.
That's also correct.
Therefore, I guess my question to you is this challenge properly before us then? Since our records now show that she lives on Galbraith, but the challenged address is on Sentinel Lane, is this matter even appropriate at this point?
Well, the plain fact of it is that the board's to review its records, and having done so, it's to take a vote, either to grant or deny the challenge. If it's apparent that the challenge should be denied based on the records, it should be denied. If it's apparent that the challenge should be granted based on the records, it should be granted.
So I guess this is I'll describe it as a gating issue, unless and until the challenge is for the appropriate address. Do we even have the ability to listen to further evidence on this?
I think the board's obligation is to review the records, and if the records demonstrate that the challenge should either be granted or denied, to take a vote.
So our records that we would look at then is the updated registration to the Galbraith Road address.
Correct, and the cancellation from the other gentleman.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, before the board proceeds, I think in due respect and due process, that at least I should be able to make an argument if the board is looking to go down that path, not based upon the records of the board, to make an argument solely on the records why we do need to have an evidentiary hearing, and not to summarily deny anybody the opportunity to be heard.
From my perspective, when we've heard what Mr. Eckert has stated, the records clearly state that all other challenges and issues have been resolved.
Well, I
So
would like to make argument on that before you make a decision. I think you're prejudging it before you've heard argument. I mean, when I was a judge, I didn't come in and just decide a case without giving the parties an opportunity to be argued, even if the facts weren't in dispute. I'll accept her new registration. I'll accept her husband's cancellation. Let me argue why you need to go forward. Because
Well,
I don't think.
From my perspective, listening to what Mr. Eckert has shared with us, I don't see where there's a need to go further, do we?
Can I at least make some
Well,
argument,
I
Dave?
think the question here is whether or not this is a summary proceeding, and in fact it is. If the records show one way or the other, it is a summary proceeding.
Exactly, and I can argue on, like, for example, a summary judgment motion to argue why, as a matter of law, the board should not find, based upon the records that's been presented by Mr. Eckert, that you cannot. I mean, you talk about the challenge on the registration address, but the law says that you're challenging the right to vote. You're not challenging the address, you're challenging the right to vote, which is a distinction. And that's one major difference. You know, you look at the challenge of the right to form vote that was actually filed. It says, I hereby mark the box, challenge the right to vote of Kim M. Lewis, whose address is 1215 Palm Street, Clearwater, Florida.
It sounds to me like you're wanting to add more to what we've already heard.
No, I'm not. I'm wanting to argue based upon the law that what this board's legal obligation is and what the standard is based upon the records that the board is saying. I said, let's accept what Mr. Eckert reported to this board that Mr. Lewis canceled his registration. Let's accept, as a matter of fact, her new registration or the change of address registration that was filed after this complaint was filed. As a legal matter, you usually give the parties an opportunity to argue why, as a legal matter, you should or should not proceed to summarily decide it. Because I don't believe, based upon those records, that this board can immediately reject and summarily reject the protest. And if you give me about five minutes max to explain why, I can at least put on the record and have the opportunity to be heard on that. Now, if you want to deny the protester, Mr. Heineken, his opportunity to be heard on this and summarily do it, that's fine, but let the record reflect that. Because I think you are violating the law when you do not give the parties, myself and Ms. Lewis's representative, an opportunity to be heard based solely on these evidence. I mean, we probably spent more time talking about this than I would have said addressing the law, Chapter 35 of the revised code.
Excuse me just for a minute, Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, ma'am.
We have heard the evidence as we had to research it and as the issues were.
You have heard that your records reflect that Kim Miller Lewis has a new address on Galbraith Road.
That's right.
And that's within Hamilton County.
And that's sufficient. We've resolved the situation, have we not? So why do we need to go on with an additional hearing?
I'm not asking to go with a hearing. I'm asking just to make a legal argument about section 3503.24 and 3503.02 of the revised code, what the law requires.
Madam Chair, may I be heard on behalf of Ms. Lewis?
Well, see, we both want to now put something on the record and make an argument. You want to be heard? I want to be heard. So let us make a legal argument.
Just a moment.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
No, go ahead. Mr. Stevenson, again.
The statute provides that if the board can make the decision based on its records, it's to immediately vote to grant or deny the challenge.
And that's
my
what
only
I want
point.
to
Thank you,
do.
Madam Chair.
And that's where I'm moving toward. That's what I want. So I need to call for a vote.
Are you not, so you're not going to deny, you're going to
We're gonna
deny me
call
the
for-
opportunity to put on the record a legal argument? You can reject it after I'm done.
We're going to make a vote, and then you're welcome afterwards if you want to say a few things, but we're
No,
going
I
to go ahead and
want to
vote.
make a legal argument as to why you guys do not have the right to go to a summary disposition. I mean,
At this
I know
point-
you're not a lawyer, Ms. McFarland.
No, I'm
but
not,
you
but
know,
I know
Mr.
enough.
Stevenson is. And Dave, have you ever been in a court where a court comes in and says, I got undisputed evidence, don't make any legal argument whatsoever, and I'm...
Mr. Hartman, the statute is very clear.
And I understand.
It's not capable of being misinterpreted.
No.
Statute says
Can I not have an echo in the background on everything you say, Dave, please?
it would be nice if you would stop interrupting me.
I keep getting interrupted by somebody in the background. I can have trouble hearing you with her.
I have a doctor for that if you want to talk to me after the meeting. The statute is very clear. If the board is able to determine whether the challenge should be granted or denied based upon the records, then the board shall immediately vote.
Right. But I think a party should be given an opportunity to say why you can or cannot make that determination based solely on the records.
Based on our role and responsibility is the Hamilton County Board of Election, I'm going to call for the vote. Need a motion.
Just so you're clear, you are denying our opportunity
I'm
to
going to
be
call
heard.
for a vote.
Is that correct, Ms.
I'm
McFarland?
going to call for a vote. Thank you.
You're denying our opportunity.
And-
We'll take care of it otherwise.
I'm
then.
going to call
See you
for
in
a
court.
vote. Motion? Need a motion? Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained?
I'm
That-
abstaining, for the record, I'm abstaining.
One abstention. That motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, on our agenda is approval of November 2021 general election review equipment allegations.
Yes, you have in your packet a revised equipment allocation for the upcoming November election. Based on Secretary of State's directive, we have updated the equipment allocation with new registered voter totals. We've made a few adjustments based on, to our voting booths, based on new polling locations and evaluating those new polling locations and how many booths would actually fit in the location.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the new recommended revised equipment allocation quantities that the staff is recommending.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you. You guys have done a great job. Looking good.
Thank you. Yes, next on the agenda is a revised ballot and provisional envelope quantities for the November 2021 election, updated with the most recent registered voter totals, staff reviewed, and there's no need to adjust the amount of ballot or provisional envelopes where we feel very good about the quantities that we set.
So do we need a vote to approve the revised, or just?
We do.
Okay,
We
very
do.
good. I'll move that we approve then the revised ballot and provisional envelope quantities recommendation from the staff.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you. And next on the agenda is an update on the upcoming November 2020 first general election. Ms. Poland?
Yes, staff wanted to give the board an update on the election. First of all, recently, the Secretary of State issued Directive 2021-20. It allows for a Board of Elections by a majority vote of the board members to permit board employees to collect absentee ballots directly outside of the Board of Elections office from voters that are personally delivering them. We would need to do this in the event that we see high traffic, either foot traffic or vehicle traffic coming in to drop off ballots or vote, like we saw in 2020. We don't anticipate that, but just in case, we'd like the board to allow staff to do that if the need arises.
Again, this is something we've done in the past, and as you've already indicated, so I'll make a motion that we allow board staff to collect ballots in the parking lot, early ballots in the parking lot as we have in the past.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
I have one question. We're talking about bipartisan teams, right?
Yes, bipartisan teams, either our full-time staff or our extras who have all had criminal background checks. And if we do need to do this, we will also have, a sheriff's officer or Norwood police officer with the bipartisan team.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification as well. Okay, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. All right.
Just also wanted to report to the board that early in-person voting is going well. So far, we've had 866 voters, nowhere near what we saw in November of 2020, but it's more than double what we saw the last similar election in 2017. We have our new signage that's gone up in the building, early vote center, to help identify, the facility to voters when they come on campus. And we're also keeping up with the by mail requests. We have just under 10,000, which is pretty much almost exactly where we were this time back in 2017 as far as by mail. So we're also actively recruiting and training our poll workers and preparing our equipment, so we'll be ready for the November 2nd election.
I have to share with you, I've received several compliments on visually being able to to get back to where they vote, which is an improvement from last year, although we did a great job. We kind of got broken in last year, but it kind of prepares us for this year, but lots of good feedback from that. Thank you.
Staff's been working very, very hard.
Fantastic. Anything else? Jerry,
No, not from staff.
you have anything?
Well, I'll just add, for the folks watching at home, I'd encourage everyone to go find our social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're trying to put out a series of videos showing the behind-the-scenes workings of the Board of Elections and all the work that our staff does to make sure that the election is secure and fair. And I think they're very interesting, and I think the viewers at home would find them very educational. And so that's my plug. Follow us on Facebook.
I think our social media here has been terrific, and I know last year, at some point, we did a myth-busting series, which I thought was very valuable, even sometimes to me, but very, very good. So kudos to whoever's doing the social media.
Thank you. Our new videos are, we're running a series called Did You Know?
Oh, that's good. All right. That's what you call teamwork.
Yes.
All right. Any other information or any other issues from the board? If not, our liaison person here from the Secretary of State is present with us.
Not as late as he thought. He ran into some traffic. Kenny, hope you're okay, buddy.
Thank you. I'm good. Prayers to the cars that weren't.
Oh,
But I think a lot of us that were caught in that traffic were all coming to Cincinnati because we got in a caravan and made it down very quick. So Kenny Henning with the Ohio Secretary of State's office, I just really wanted to say thank you to Sherry for inviting me to participate with the Jack and Jill students that came here on
right.
2 Saturdays ago now. The students sat up at your dais and asked us really great questions about elections. They were maybe 3rd through 7th graders.
Yes.
Somewhere in that range, and their parents were here also, and the students were asking questions, and then the parents were asking questions, and then the parents were shocked that things happen at Board of Elections in bipartisan ways. And we were here for an hour and a half with them, and the parents probably asked questions for half of it. As we kind of walked around the building and they saw the double key entries for the Democrats and Republicans to get into some rooms here, it was shocking to them, and it was great for those adults to take that information out into the public and share it with their friends and networks, etc. So thank you for having me here for that. It was a nice hour and a half of just enlightenment for the youth and then also the parents. Your social media team does a phenomenal job. Our other boards, my other 13 boards of elections use a lot of the content that you all share, and they kind of repost it and share it in their own way. So thank you for that. The smaller 2 and 3 person staffs at some of the rural counties don't have the bandwidth to do what you all do, so they are very appreciative of that. And with that being said, this is our 3rd general election already of this term, and it's been a pleasure. Your staff is doing a phenomenal job, and I brought a big bag of chocolate because Sally always used to say chocolate fuels election, so I got to drop that off in the break room. But that's all I have. Huh? Perfect.
Chocolate fuse the election and fuse other things. That's why there's chocolate in all these areas, and it's detrimental for some, but happy for me.
For
you
sure.
know.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything else? And again, the staff, we just cannot commend our staff enough for everything that we do. Commend everyone that even makes these meetings possible for all of us. And it's all about teamwork, you guys. I know I say teamwork makes the dream work, and that's exactly what it is. So before we adjourn, our next meeting is Monday, November the 1st, 2021 at 8:30 a.m., which we will meet to go into recess. And then we will reconvene on Tuesday, November the 2nd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. And then on Tuesday, November the 16th at 2021, we'll have our regular meeting. Did I say Thursday? Tuesday. I said Tuesday. Then Thursday, November the 18th, 2020 at 8:30 a.m., we go into recess and reconvene at 2 p.m. on the same day. And on Friday, November the 19th, 1921, we meet at 3 p.m. So possible recount dates will be Wednesday, November the 24th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. and Monday, November 29th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m.
Yes,
These
that's
correct.
correct. That'll be all the meetings
So we need-
necessary to wrap up this election.
Do these look workable from you all's calendar?
There was one date that was a problem, and I shared it with the director. I can't remember which day that was.
I believe it
Sherry.
was Friday, the 19th.
Friday the 19th, yeah. day.
That meeting would be solely for, if there is a recount, conducting the random draw of the precincts to be hand counted. If there is no recount, we will do the random draw of contests to be audited. So that's the only purpose for that meeting.
If the three of you can come, I appreciate a pass as I'm traveling that day.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to be here on the 18th, right, and the 19th?
That's right.
Yes, the 18th is our schedule to certify the election on the 18th. The morning, you will vote on any provisional remakes, and then in the afternoon, we will certify the election.
Okay, and the 19th is a sort of must-do as well?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we're okay, 24th and then.
Yeah, the 24th and the 29th, we just wanted to tentatively reserve those dates in case there is a recount. If it's a small recount, meaning a small jurisdiction, we believe we can do that on the 24th. That's the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
If we end up having a recount in a large jurisdiction, then we would conduct that on the 29th because we would
Okay.
need a little bit more time to prepare.
So thus far, we're okay, except maybe perhaps for one person, but we all can be here otherwise, right?
I'm gone on the 29th,
Okay,
that whole week.
okay. Well, I'll be here. Joe?
I'll be here too, so,
Alex? Okay.
yeah, I'm free that. The only day I need help with is on the 19th, is long scheduled trip to attend a good friend's
Oh.
wedding celebration.
Oh, well. We'll meet you there later.
Mhm.
All right, anything else? Any other discussion? Like to entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? As I said, none but the devil. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.